Have you ever felt like you're just absolutely drowning in feedback?
Oh, constantly.
Right. I mean, I'm talking about that relentless stream of emails, the post-purchase survey responses,
Hmm.
the star ratings on your website, contact center chat logs.
All of it.
Yeah, you're sitting on this absolute mountain of customer data, but somehow, you still have absolutely no idea what you're actually supposed to do about it.
Well, it really is the defining paradox for modern businesses right now. I mean, we've never had more customer signals in human history.
Yeah, definitely.
Every single interaction leaves a digital footprint. But because those signals are just completely fragmented across, dozens of different software systems, and they're buried in miles of unstructured text, nobody actually has the time to read it all.
No, of course not.
Or the cognitive capacity, really.
And the lag time is what absolutely kills you. Because by the time some poor analyst manually compiles all that scattered data, puts it into a spreadsheet, spots a trend, and finally pastes it into a quarterly report for the exec team.
The damage is already done.
Exactly. The damage is locked in, your net promoter score is already tanked, your warehouse is overflowing with returns, and the hit to your bottom line, like your P&L, it's set in stone.
Which really points us toward a massive shift happening right now. And that's our mission for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We are exploring a fundamental transition in how organizations handle customer feedback. We're finally moving away from this era of passive data collection, and we're entering the era of the voice of customer super agent.
I really love that term, super agent. It sounds like, I don't know, a spy movie or science fiction.
It does sound like sci-fi, but I assure you it's happening right now. A really prime example of this is a platform called Clootrack.
So,
They're pioneering this space, and they recently hit a staggering milestone that was actually recognized by OpenAI. They just crossed 100 billion tokens processed in voice of the customer analytics.
okay, wait, hold on a second. 100 billion tokens. For anyone listening who, isn't spending their weekends reading AI white papers, what exactly is a token in this context?
Right, good question. Think of a token as roughly a piece of a word. When a large language model reads text, it breaks words down into these tokens so it can process them.
Gotcha.
So 100 billion tokens is the equivalent of an AI system reading and, crucially, comprehending tens of billions of words of human complaints, reviews, suggestions, all that feedback.
That is just an unimaginable scale. I mean, no team of human beings could ever read that much text, let alone remember what was said in, like, document A when they're finally reading document 1 million.
They absolutely couldn't. It's impossible. But the sheer volume of data isn't even the most fascinating part of what we're looking at today.
Really?
Yeah, what makes this a complete paradigm shift is how Clootrack uses what's called Agentic AI.
Okay.
They're taking organizations from simply measuring their customer experience to deploying autonomous agents that actively drive real measurable outcomes from that experience.
I really want to dig into how these agents actually work.
Yeah.
But before we get to the AI magic, I feel like we have to understand the baseline, right?
Yeah.
We need to talk about why the old way of analyzing feedback is so fundamentally broken. Because companies have been doing voice of the customer programs for decades now.
They have. And, well, those traditional voice of customer or VUC programs, they suffer from some massive structural failures.
Like what?
The first major flaw is their really heavy reliance on surveys. I mean, we've all seen it. You buy a pack of socks online, and suddenly you get 3 emails begging you to fill out a 20-minute questionnaire about your sock buying journey.
Oh, I instantly delete those. Nobody has the time for that.
Exactly, and you're not alone in that. Survey response rates have been declining globally for years. Furthermore, the people who actually do respond tend to be totally polarized.
Right, it's the extremes.
Exactly. You get the furious customers and the overjoyed customers, leaving you with this massive blind spot regarding everyone else in the middle.
So you completely miss the much larger pool of unprompted feedback, like the raw, honest things people are actually saying in their online reviews or, complaining about on Reddit or venting about when they call your actual customer support line.
Yes, that unstructured, unsolicited feedback is where the real truth lives. But the second structural failure, and arguably the more dangerous one, is how companies historically try to categorize that unstructured data once they finally do get their hands on it.
Okay, yeah. This is where I always use the rear view mirror analogy.
Oh, right, I like this one.
Yeah, the old way of analyzing feedback is basically like, Driving a car down the highway at 70 miles an hour, but you have the windshield completely blacked out, and you are only looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
You're manually gathering data. You're looking backwards at what happened 3 months ago, and by the time you see the obstacle in the mirror, you've already crashed the car.
That analogy perfectly captures the lag time. And the technical mechanism that's causing that crash is something data scientists call the taxonomy trap.
The taxonomy trap.
Right. In traditional text analysis software, human beings have to predefine the categories. A human programmer has to explicitly tell the software, hey, search this massive pile of reviews for keywords related to shipping speed or high price.
So you're basically building a rigid little bucket for the data to fall into.
You are. But consider what happens when a totally new, unexpected issue pops up. Let's say a manufacturer subtly changes the type of glue used to assemble a product just to, save a few pennies.
Okay.
Suddenly, a wave of customers starts complaining on forums about a weird chemical smell.
Oh, wow. And if the human analyst didn't have the foresight to build a bucket labeled weird smell, the software just skips right over it.
It goes completely undetected. The software only knows what you tell it to know. It's entirely limited by the imagination and the biases of the person who set it up.
That's crazy.
So these weird smell complaints just pile up in the background until it escalates into a full-blown crisis or a massive product recall.
Which means you're spending all this time and money collecting all this data, but you're still totally blind.
Exactly.
Actually, the CEO of Clootrack, Shameel Abdulla, had a quote in the materials we reviewed for this deep dive that really crystallized this entire problem for me. He noted that most organizations have become very good at measuring customer experience, but they have not become very good at driving outcomes from it.
It's a brilliant observation. Measuring a drop in a satisfaction score doesn't tell you how to fix the drop. Data alone doesn't create action. Deep understanding creates action.
Right.
And human-defined dashboards are simply too slow, they're too rigid, and they're too biased to generate that deep understanding at an enterprise scale.
So if human bias and rigid buckets are the problem, the solution has to be removing the human from the initial sorting process entirely, right?
Aren't they?
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of these new AI super agents.
Right. So this is where we see the transition to what is known as unsupervised AI. Clootrack has developed and actually patented a specific unsupervised analysis methodology.
Unsupervised.
Yeah, what unsupervised means in this technical context is that the system requires absolutely zero predefined taxonomies. You don't give it any keywords, you don't build any rigid buckets for it.
Wait, it just dives into the data completely blind?
Well, I would say it goes in completely open-minded. The AI ingests 100% of a company's voice of customer data. And it achieves this massive ingestion because it utilizes over 1,000 different connectors.
1,000.
Over 1,000. It pulls from e-commerce sites, CRM platforms like Salesforce, ticketing systems like Zendesk, social media, call center transcripts, across over 95 different languages.
But how does it categorize anything if it doesn't have keywords to look for? Does it just guess?
No, it uses advanced semantic clustering. Instead of looking for a specific word like broken, it maps out the mathematical relationship between the concepts in the text.
Oh, I see.
It understands context and nuance. It groups similar ideas together dynamically based on what the customers are actually saying, rather than what the company hopes they are saying.
Okay, so if 100 people mention a weird smell using entirely different vocabulary, like some say odorous, some say sting, some say chemical fumes, well, the unsupervised AI figures out they're all talking about the exact same underlying issue.
Yes, and it does this independently, discovering emerging themes organically. The sources note it achieves 98% accuracy across real-world VOCI records doing this.
98% accuracy on messy human language is just wild.
It is.
But the part that changes the game for the end user, from what I understand, is how you interact with this system. It's not just a giant, overwhelming search engine. The interface is what they call intent-driven.
Yeah, this is the hallmark of modern agentic architecture. Instead of forcing a brand manager or a really busy executive to learn the intricacies of a complex new software tool, they simply deploy an agent based on their specific goal.
So you start with the outcome.
You start with the outcome you want to achieve.
Like, I need to stop the bleeding on my e-commerce returns.
Exactly that. If you're an e-commerce lead, you just deploy the returns agent. The data shows this specific agent can drop e-commerce returns by 9 to 18%.
Wow.
And it does this because it doesn't just give you a dashboard. It reads the millions of reviews, finds the semantic clusters, and identifies the root cause of the return down to the individual product SKU level.
Or, if your mandate is customer loyalty, you spin up the NPS agent, which focuses on Net Promoter Scores.
Hmm.
And that's been shown to lift those scores by 14 to 18% just by telling you exactly what is angering your detractors.
There's even a due diligence agent designed specifically for private equity firms.
Really?
Yeah, when they're analyzing a brand's public perception before making a multi-million-dollar investment, this agent can save them up to 188 hours of manual research. The agent carries the goal, it holds the context of the business, and it does the heavy reasoning.
Okay, I am going to put on my skeptic's hat for a second here.
Sure.
Because anyone who has played with AI tools knows they can be notoriously gullible. They hallucinate. They get confused by sarcasm. They confidently state things that are completely wrong.
True.
So if this super agent is out there reading raw, unfiltered internet reviews, how on earth does it not get completely thrown off by internet trolls? Or bot farms? Or those reviews that are literally just a single angry red-faced emoji?
It is the most critical question an enterprise can ask, because if the data feeding the AI is garbage, the insights the AI produces will be garbage. And Fortune 500 leaders are certainly not going to make multi-million-dollar supply chain decisions based on an angry emoji.
Right? So how do they actually filter the garbage?
Well, Clootrack solves this during a really intensive data pre-processing and cleaning phase. Long before the AI ever starts analyzing for themes, they actively hunt down and eradicate the noise.
So out go the blank reviews, the one-word reviews, the emoji-only rants.
Yeah, but those are the easy ones. Their proprietary models go much deeper to catch sophisticated spam. For instance, pretty much any system will eliminate a duplicate review posted by the same user account.
Right.
But Clootrack's models have the capability to identify and remove duplicate reviews coming from different user accounts, provided those reviews are over 5 words long.
Oh, that is incredibly smart. Because if a malicious bot farm is just, copy-pasting the exact same 6-word complaint from 100 different fake accounts to tank a competitor's rating, this system catches the pattern and strips it out entirely.
Exactly. Furthermore, they utilize an ensemble model of multiple similarity algorithms. This catches reviews that are almost identical but have been slightly altered.
Like changing one word?
Right. Maybe a bot farm added an extra word at the beginning or end of a sentence just to try and trick standard spam filters. The system recognizes the semantic trickery and purges it, ensuring the AI is only reasoning over valid, genuine human conversations.
Okay, so it's rigorously clean data, meeting an open-minded, unsupervised AI. It sounds great in theory, but to really grasp how this stops a company from hemorrhaging money, let's look at a concrete example. The research materials highlighted a fascinating case study involving a brand called Wagner.
Yes, the Wagner story is a perfect illustration of finding the unknown unknowns. Wagner is a major global home improvement brand. They manufacture paint sprayers, heat guns, power tools, decorating equipment.
Stuff like that.
Right. And they were facing an incredibly frustrating, expensive problem. They were seeing sky-high return rates from their major retail and e-commerce partners.
And returns on heavy hardware like that are a financial nightmare. You're paying for reverse logistics, the packaging is destroyed, the product has to be refurbished or scrapped, and you lose the initial sale. It just burns cash fast.
It does. But here is the mind-bending twist to their problem. When Wagner's quality assurance team actually inspected the items coming back to the warehouse, fewer than 0.1% of those tools were actually defective.
Wait, what? So 99.9% of the time, the paint sprayer or the heat gun worked perfectly fine. The motor was good. The parts were all there.
The machines were flawless. The reasons behind that 99.9% of returns were entirely invisible to the company. And when you consider that Wagner has hundreds of different SKUs and they're constantly launching new product models across different countries.
Oh, man.
Yeah, trying to figure out why customers were boxing up perfectly good tools was an absolute nightmare.
How were they even trying to solve this before they brought in AI?
They were using the traditional painful approach. They were manually trying to stitch together fragmented data from online reviews, expensive consumer surveys, and whatever Net Promoter Score data they had on hand.
And I imagine they were using those old keyword-based text analytics tools we talked about earlier.
They were, and this is the taxonomy trap in action. Their analysts were likely programming the software to look for keywords like broken motor, or missing parts, or won't turn on.
But the motors weren't broken.
Exactly. Because the motors weren't broken, the software found nothing. The manual analysis was far too slow, and the data was too vast and noisy to make any sense of.
So they finally plug in Clootrack. They point this unsupervised AI super agent at their massive mountain of unstructured customer data across all their global regions and retail touchpoints. What happens?
Because the AI is unsupervised, it isn't looking for broken motors either. It just maps the semantic clusters to find the truth. What the system spotted, completely on its own, was that the root issue had absolutely nothing to do with the manufacturing process or the physical hardware.
What was it?
It was an issue of mismatched customer expectations and a lack of clear instructions.
Ah, so people were buying a complex piece of hardware, like a professional-grade paint sprayer, getting completely overwhelmed or confused when they tried to set it up in their garage, assuming the machine was broken because they didn't understand it.
And immediately returning it to the store.
Well,
The product was fine. The customer experience and the onboarding were failing. Once Wagner had this specific insight, and it's crucial to note that Clootrack traces every one of these insights directly back to the verbatim customer evidence, so the executives can actually read the underlying complaints.
right.
Well, they could act immediately.
And this is where we see the silos in a big business finally break down.
Hmm.
Wagner didn't need to spend millions re-engineering the paint sprayer motor. Instead, they quickly updated their DIY self-help materials across their website and mobile platforms.
Yep.
They overhauled their e-commerce product detail pages so buyers knew exactly what they were purchasing and how to use it before it even shipped.
Marketing, product development, and customer service were suddenly aligned around one single, undeniable source of truth. The outcome was a vastly accelerated customer experience program, a dramatic drop in returns to their retail partners, and a higher net promoter score overall.
That is such a powerful takeaway for anyone listening right now. I mean, even if your company doesn't make paint sprayers, there is almost certainly an invisible root cause creating friction in your own business or your own projects.
Absolutely.
This technology isn't just a flashy new dashboard. It's a flashlight for illuminating those invisible problems so you can actually fix them.
It's a really profound capability, but it raises a very sobering question. If the return on investment is this incredibly obvious, if it can solve massive, expensive mysteries like the Wagner returns, why isn't every single enterprise in the world successfully using AI like this today?
Yeah, it does feel like this should just be standard operating procedure for any Fortune 500 company by now.
You would assume so, but the reality of AI adoption in the enterprise space is actually quite bleak right now. According to research from MIT cited in our materials, a staggering 95% of generative AI pilots deliver absolutely no measurable business return.
95%. That means almost every company trying this is failing to get any real value out of it.
It's a massive failure rate. And Gartner predicts that by 2026, 60% of all AI projects will be completely abandoned by the organizations that started them.
Wow. What is going wrong? Are the foundational AI models from companies like OpenAI and Google just not smart enough yet?
No, the intelligence of the AI models is not the bottleneck here. The bottleneck is the lack of what we call AI-ready data. Most enterprise AI initiatives are fundamentally disconnected from the real, quantified reality of the business.
Oh, it's like the consultant analogy.
Right.
It's like hiring the smartest, most expensive business consultant in the world, locking them in an empty conference room, and refusing to give them any of your company's actual files. Like, they might be a genius, but if they don't have access to your data, they can only hallucinate guesses about what your problems are.
That is the perfect analogy. If an AI agent is querying fragmented, ungoverned, messy data, or worse, no internal data at all, it's going to produce a generic, untrustworthy output. No executive is going to stake their career on a hallucinated insight.
So how does Clootrack solve the consultant in an empty room problem? How do they actually get the right data to the AI?
Through a breakthrough they launched called the Clootrack MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. It's built on an open standard, and its entire purpose is to bridge that gap securely.
Let's break down how MCP works for the listener, because when we talk about AI, we often hear about the context window. How does MCP interact with that?
Think of a large language model's context window as its short-term memory. A standard AI model only knows what it was trained on months or years ago. Doesn't know what happened at your company yesterday.
Right.
What the Model Context Protocol does is act as a highly secure pipeline. It takes your governed, hyper-clean customer intelligence from Clootrack and temporarily pipes it directly into the short-term memory of the AI tools you already use, like Microsoft Copilot, Claude, or ChatGPT.
Oh, so I do not have to log into some special separate Clootrack dashboard and learn a totally new software interface. I can just use the AI assistant I already have open on my desktop.
That is the beauty of it. Let's walk through what a Tuesday morning looks like using this. Imagine you're a product manager. You open up Microsoft Copilot and you simply type in plain English, why did returns spike on our new product line last month and what should we fix?
And normally asking a question like that would trigger a 2-week internal fire drill.
Yeah.
You'd have to submit a formal ticket to the data analytics team. They'd have to pull SQL reports, massage the data in Excel, make a 30-page PowerPoint.
Exactly. But with MCP, the AI instantly queries the Clootrack context layer. It pulls the specific root cause themes from the unstructured reviews and the return data. And instead of giving you a generic consultant-speak guess, it gives you a prioritized, evidence-backed answer right there in your chat window.
Incredible.
And it traces the conclusion back to the verbatim customer complaints.
Okay, I have to stop you because I can hear the IT directors and compliance officers screaming in the background right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
The idea of piping proprietary company data and customer complaints into a public tool like ChatGPT sounds like a massive security violation.
Security and trust have to be foundational here, or the enterprise will completely reject it. Clootrack is actually part of the Microsoft for Startups Pegasus Program, which is specifically geared toward scaling secure, enterprise-ready solutions. They handle the security in 3 distinct layers. First, they strip out all personal data, or PII, at the ingestion phase.
So before the AI ever even sees the text, all the customer names, phone numbers, credit card details, they're completely redacted.
They are gone. Second, and this is crucial for the IT departments listening, they never use your customer data to train their foundational AI models. Your data stays your data, the context window we talked about.
Yeah.
Once the AI answers your question, that short-term memory is wiped clean. It does not learn from your proprietary secrets.
Okay, so it's a closed temporary loop.
Exactly. And third, to ensure executives actually trust the output, they provide what they call AI decision digests. This prevents the black box problem where an AI just spits out an answer and expects you to blindly trust it.
Which nobody does.
Right. The digest explicitly spells out the what, the why, and most importantly, the so what for every stakeholder, linking directly back to the source data. You can defend every budget ask to your board because the precision of the AI's logic is fully validated and totally transparent.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we pull back and look at the big picture here, what does this all mean for you, the listener? If we distill this entire deep dive down, we're witnessing a massive evolution in business intelligence. We're finally leaving the era where companies just collected customer feedback and dumped it into a big, useless pile that nobody had time to read.
We are entering an era where AI agents actively understand that feedback, reason over it, and tell executives exactly what action they need to take, often 9 to 12 months before an unaddressed issue ever hits the P&L statement.
It's the difference between measuring the past and actively shaping the future. And that requires a completely different mindset from business leaders today.
Which brings us to the core takeaway for you, listening right now. Take a hard, honest look at your own daily workflow and your team's processes. Are you just collecting data? Are you just building pretty dashboards to measure things that have already happened? Or are you actually using that intelligence to drive a specific, measurable outcome?
Because if you're just measuring, you are going to be outmaneuvered by competitors who are acting on their data in real time.
The gap between the companies using agentic AI and those relying on manual dashboards is only going to widen.
And that leads me to one final, slightly mind-bending thought to chew on as we wrap up today. Right now, these super agents are acting as incredibly brilliant advisors. They analyze the data, and they give human executives the exact blueprint of what needs to be fixed, like telling Wagner to update their instruction manuals.
Right.
But as this model context protocol technology gets faster and more deeply integrated into our systems and much more autonomous, how far are we from a world where the AI simply bypasses the human entirely?
It's the logical next step in the evolution of autonomous agents.
Imagine a system that doesn't just send an alert telling you the DIY instructions on your website are confusing. Imagine it automatically rewrites the product manuals on your website, pushes the update live, and tracks the subsequent drop in return rates.
Wow.
Or an agent that analyzes shifting customer sentiment and adjusts your dynamic pricing in real time without needing a human to approve the discount.
Right.
Or even alters your global supply chain routing the exact moment it detects a spike in regional complaints.
When agents move from advising to executing, it changes the entire definition of what a company is capable of doing.
We started this deep dive by asking if you felt like you were drowning in a sea of feedback. The truth is, the water's only going to get deeper as more data floods in. The real question is whether you're going to keep furiously treading water or let an AI agent build you a boat.